Welcome to that 80s show. Dori, how many Rick Astleys does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Oh, Lord. Now I've got to really do some maths? I don't know. Just tell me.
I don't know either, but he's never going to give up.
Oh.
No. I tried that thing. I tried it. I was like, I need something funny to say.
And then you didn't find anything.
I didn't get that. So the plus side is, can't get worse. The show can't get worse.
Oh, I bet it could.
How you doing, Dori? This is that 80s show, another week in the 80s universe where we scour the internet for the latest 80s related and 80s adjacent stories and put them in your ears.
Things.
For all the people, we're always on the lookout for the latest of what's happening from the 1980s. Dori and I are part of a podcast community in South Africa, and all his new members joining. And a new member joined up, and somebody said, I found a show more out of date than yours. The more out of date than that 80s show.
Is this the Egypt thing?
It's a podcast about breaking news from ancient Egypt.
I think you've mentioned it before, actually.
That's fantastic. It's fantastic. You know, breaking news from ancient Egypt.
Are they discovering more mummies?
Who knows? Who knows? But are we more out of date?
That is niche.
That is super niche.
I mean, we're niche. That is like beyond.
I mean, what are you like? If we're catering to Gen X, that's catering to General Palpatine. I don't know. That's super old. Dori, Comic-Con, big thing all over the world.
Yep.
And you're going, right?
I'm not going.
You're not
my
going?
child is going.
Okay. You been to a Comic-Con before?
No, actually.
So it's Comic-Con South Africa, Comic-Con Johannesburg. I mean, I think it's the same company that does Comic-Cons all over the world. I think it's like a universal thing. And I went to the first one. It was very cool. Then they changed venue. I don't really like the venue they changed it to. But the thing that always bummed me out was you want to go to Comic-Con to meet the people that have been in the comic book stuff, right?
Right.
So the one thing we often talk about on the show is like, what does so-and-so do? What has Christopher Lloyd, he's always at Comic-Cons, you know. The lady who played the princess in Neverending Story, you know, she tells a story about how she stays in touch with fans.
Can't remember her name, although you did speak about her a few weeks ago.
We did speak about her, but it's intentional. It's not because we don't know. It's because she intentionally stepped out of the limelight. So we always like that. That's why I go, you know, Comic-Cons must be cool, but I want to see people. Not even new people. I just want to see old people. Very excited about who's coming to South Africa Comic-Con, Johannesburg Comic-Con.
So did you get tickets?
But you see, you won't meet. It's difficult to meet the people. You got to
pay extra to meet them.
Well, you got to queue. It is a con. It's a comic con. Exactly. It's right in the name. You can't be upset about it.
It is in the name. They do not hide it.
They don't hide it. It's like, well, we told you what it is. No, I'm not saying it's a con or not. But who do we know? Because I got to meet Lou Ferrigno. He is coming to Comic-Con. Now, if you're like our friend, the celeb savant, Barrett Edelstein, go, who is Lou Ferrigno? I mean, Dori, who is Lou Ferrigno?
He's that guy who was in King of Queens, right?
Oh, my God.
No, I'm joking. Of course I know who he is.
Oh, my God.
But he was in King of Queens.
Listen, he's been a cameo. He's done a cameo. His list of cameos and his filmography is extensive. But, of course, his main role that he's known for.
Typecast, if you would say, actually.
Perfectly
you'd
cast.
Have to.
Perfectly cast. He was the original Incredible Hulk in the TV series that ran from the 70s. I thought it ran forever because it was always on TV in the 80s, but it only ran for 4 years.
Oh, in the 70s only?
78 to 82.
Okay, so we get into the 80s.
But it was always on reruns.
Yeah.
It got translated into every language, and Lou Ferrigno was the Incredible Hulk. He wasn't Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner was played by another guy. Because you know the story of Incredible Hulk is Bruce Banner.
Yes, but that's because they didn't use special effects.
No, they couldn't. You know, nowadays when they've redone the new Hulks, I mean, Eric Bana,
funnily enough.
Which I found quite hilarious. But of course, they kind of CGI'd him. Edward Norton was Hulk as well. And of course, Mark Ruffalo. But they're not
No one is Lou.
Everyone.
Lou's the man.
I mean, Lou is everyone. Lou is the Hulk. What an interesting character, though, I got to say. So, yes, he has been typecast. Did you know that he's 80% deaf?
No.
So, it actually, because he's got quite a very distinctive speech pattern, if you think about it.
Yes, now that you mention it, it makes sense, actually.
You don't think about it
I thought that's just how he spoke.
So as a child, he kept suffering from constant ear infections to the point that he was actually 80% deaf. And he's only recently had a cochlear implant.
That must be mind-blowing if you have it as like an old person.
So even in this article, he talks about things that he never heard before. So he says, you accommodate a lot. And also his speech pattern is so different.
Yeah. Because
he was accommodating and that's how he spoke. And
he probably finds the world very loud and noisy.
He said he didn't know things ticked. He could, for the first time in his life, was hearing things ticking. He said it was always the small sounds.
I read the most interesting thing the other day, that people who were previously deaf and had cochlear implants are surprised that the sun doesn't buzz. They expect the sun to make a noise.
You would oh my God, imagine. The sun obviously makes a noise.
Yeah, but we don't hear it.
Can you imagine if
if it was just like this? Imagine like a leaf blower all day long.
Just the sun.
Leaf blower sun.
What would be worse, listening to that 80s show or listening to the sun? Which would... that is nuts.
How crazy.
So Lou Ferrigno, one of the things he does say in the article about his cochlear implants, which is a couple of years old, is talking about hearing his wife's voice and the specifics of his voice. But once you go down a Lou Ferrigno rabbit hole, it's huge. Can you imagine the size of a Lou Ferrigno rabbit hole?
That's a very big, big rabbit.
Don't look up Lou Ferrigno rabbit hole on Urban Dictionary either,
No.
We didn't quite get what we wanted from Double Dragon last week. But Lou Ferrigno's rabbit hole, so he mentioned specifically that hearing his wife, they are going through a very, very ugly divorce.
Oh, no.
There is a terrible Hulk-sized spat in the Ferrigno family, right? So from a little bit earlier this year, this is May this year, he is suing his daughter, claiming elder abuse amid messy family split. Now, who's abusing Lou Ferrigno, right?
Someone very brave.
Definitely not physical abuse.
No.
Okay. So he is suing his daughter, Shanna Ferrigno. Now, this is going to, listen, you go, how do you abuse Lou Ferrigno, right? Okay, could it be psychological abuse? Right, because we think physical. No one's physically abusing Lou Ferrigno.
But elder abuse is generally like somewhat physical, but often like emotional.
Okay.
Don't feed them.
Now, bearing in mind he is going to be in the same city as us very soon. Comic-Con's like...
a couple of weeks away. So... people may be scanning, they may be buzzing the podcast, kind of see what's in what's the conversation. Because the SEO is going to do its job, right?
It's going to do it, and they might come across this. So I'm taking a risk here, but all I'm doing is I'm reading from a website called courthousenews.com, right?
Right.
So elder abuse, yes. He is suing his daughter, Shanna Ferrigno, for withholding login credentials for his social media accounts. Now, if you want to fuck with an old person...
That was not what I was expecting.
If you want to fuck with an old person, I mean, online is so complicated nowadays. Online banking, I feel sorry for older people. I really do. Because you can't...
I'm struggling. I am an older person.
No, I'm getting to that point where I'm like, oh my God, how many apps do I need to get into my friggin' bank account, right? And I understand the safety aspect of it, but my God, it's becoming very difficult to do anything unless you're, and I'm not even talking like slightly tech literate. I'm talking about like,
Yes.
Right.
That facial recognition thing.
So I never even turned that on. No, I'm not into it because look at your phone. Okay. Anyway, so his daughter, Shanna, would run his Facebook and his social media accounts. Okay. Posting about what he's up to, his appearances, on going to Comic-Con, whatever. And they had a falling out over Lou Ferrigno's wife, Shanna's mother, okay, who he says they've been married for quite a few years. Her name's Carla Ferrigno. She was his manager previously. They had 3 children together. And he is now saying that the reason for the divorce is that he claims she's suffering from mental decline and is in the advanced stages of dementia.
And he doesn't want to look after her?
In the court filings, okay, this family is leaning. Now, listen, who are we to decry a one-hit wonder? You know, these are the court filings. They 100% know who they are. In his filings, legal, courthousenews.com, I'm not making it up. Even the Hulk must cope with the challenges of life in caring for a spouse with advanced dementia. Okay? He says in the petition. So 6 days after filing that, Carla, his wife, filed for divorce with a domestic violence restraining order in which she claimed he was abusive and controlling. I do not deny that I'm not in the same condition as I was when I was younger, but I know what is going on around me, how Lou treats me, and that he is trying to ensure that I'm treated as a complete incompetent so that he can use our estate and leave me to die, okay? He will remind everyone. She claims he intimidates her, and he will remind everyone that he is the Hulk. Now,
oh my God, that must be such a pain to live with.
Now, he is now saying, I'm the Hulk, but I'm not, look what I have to do.
The Hulk will not look after his sick wife.
And his sick wife is going, well, he is the Hulk after all. So they're typecasting themselves.
Yeah.
He's like, there's no such thing here of like, oh, I want to, no. I'm the Hulk, we're the Hulk's got us good. So this is very ugly between the parents. The daughter has taken the mother's side and has locked him out of his social media account. So I don't know if I've gone on to Lou Ferrigno on Instagram. Maybe we should do it right now and see when last he posted. Because if he posted, this has been resolved. And his last posting, oh, that's not even him. That's Lou Ferrigno Jr.
Oh, so there's a brother as well.
There is no, probably a son. There is no.
Yeah, I meant the daughter's brother.
Right, son. Yes.
I'll check Twitter.
On Instagram, there is no Lou Ferrigno. Now, maybe on Facebook?
You go Facebook, I'm going Twitter.
I'm going to go on Facebook. Lou Ferrigno. Do we have a hit? Lou Ferrigno, sports person.
I've only got Junior.
A post.
What if he's Junior? No, he's not. I mean,
I don't know if this is him because
no, it's not
this
him.
They try to make it look official because they put an official tick. And there's a more recent post. So this is probably true. So she's now upped and left with his passwords. Now that's super abusive to an elderly person. If you want to get back at your parents, lock them out of their Facebook accounts, right? And lock them out of all their social accounts. She says that she was working for him for free. But I'm like, okay, yeah, but you're his daughter though. And I mean, it's not exactly like the Hulk lifestyle hasn't provided for you.
We assume.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're a Nepo baby, and I'm not saying she is a Nepo baby, but surely you go, my parents famous. If I do want to work, let me work for them, right?
Makes sense.
And she's made the money out of the Hulk. I mean, like if I was the Hulk, and I know it's difficult to forget that I'm not, you know, when you look at what a human specimen I am, the fact that I'm green, that's just bad diet. That's on me. But if I'm the Hulk, and my daughter goes, oh, but I'm doing stuff for you to promote you. I'm going, yeah, but like, you're not exactly Poe. You know what I mean? Am I wrong?
I don't know, actually. Because I do think that people should be compensated for the work they do, regardless.
But
you don't want to like be exploiting people just because they're family.
Yeah, but I mean, she obviously lives in his house. She has the lifestyle.
We don't know. How old is she?
Well, I mean...
Maybe not. Maybe she's like a grown woman.
But she would have. So she says over the years of managing his brand, she built his presence from 30,000 to 2.7 million. And she stopped helping him last year, right? Where she had posted on his behalf. I don't know. I'm just of the opinion that like, this is the family business. We are Hulk Inc. And you are benefiting from this lifestyle. Come on. I mean, even if he's not paying,
we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
He's obviously bought a Hulk house, a Hulk car.
Yeah, I suppose he's definitely compensated her one way or the other.
Exactly.
Over the years or whatever.
Okay,
yes.
Not exactly for per tweet. She's not getting paid per post.
Fair enough.
Okay. But her comeback, I love it. So we got this whole thing. He's saying I'm the Hulk. The wife's saying Hulk. Daughter's saying this.
Wife's saying he's always saying he's the Hulk.
He's always.
Everyone's saying he's the Hulk.
Lou Ferrigno claims the defendant's conduct is tantamount to identity theft in effectively erasing plaintiff from the social media spheres and eliminating his years of goodwill.
Oh, maybe she deleted his accounts. That's why we can't find them.
That's why we can't find them. Is it identity theft? The irony of identity theft for a guy who's most famous for being a
double identity.
I find that quite funny. Shanna Ferrigno said she has never refused to provide any login information, and her father could simply reach out to the social media platforms. Instead of attacking me, they should just go to Facebook, she said. Case closed.
I mean, she's not wrong.
No, I don't think she's wrong at all. Does
this make you want to meet him a little bit less?
Has he heard this? No, listen, he's still the friggin' Hulk.
Yeah.
You're still going to want to meet the Hulk. I mean, and people got messy family lives. It's not my problem.
Separate the man from the character.
That's what I'm saying. I'm Team Lou.
Who else is going to be at Comic-Con that you want to see?
The only big one they're naming is like Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, I don't know.
The one that was married to Sofia Vergara.
Maybe I should go to Comic-Con.
Lou and Joe Manganiello, Imagine that sandwich.
You would die.
You would die from the hunkiness. So, that's the thing. Lou Ferrigno goes, cochlear implants, only to year. Oh, shit, these people talking shit about me the whole time.
It's like I should have stayed deaf.
Fuck, I'm out. Okay. Listen, someone who's no stranger to bullshit making a noise about literal bullshit is our friend Morrissey. We hadn't spoken about him in ages.
I don't like the way you got our friend Morrissey.
So obviously we bring him up last week. We're like talking about bands who would be inspired by Oasis.
Yes.
To go on a reunion tour. Everyone else kind of like KG, could he? Morrissey not asked his opinion. We're not getting back together. It's like
we didn't ask you.
Never expected. We didn't ask you. Everyone else has asked. Anyway, but now Morrissey, guess what he's doing? He's gone to the Pope.
Okay.
He has gone to the Pope because he says he has sent the Pope Francis a letter imploring the pontiff to condemn the atrocity of bullfighting. Okay. And wants the Pope to help bring an end to the violent sport.
That sounds like old Morrissey.
It does.
He was very animal rights,
very
veganism, all that.
Member of PETA. So listen, bullfighting is
horrendous.
It is horrendous. Huge in Spain, big in parts of France, a little bit in Portugal. I remember once as a kid being in Portugal and we were in a small town and the whole town went ballistic because there was a bullfighting fight. What do you call it? Bullfighting.
Bullfight?
The bullfight. Thank you. Yeah, it was called the bullfight. And I was like, it was a weird thing. Like, listen, because the thing is, it's stacked against the bull, but if the bull gets you, you get got. But I mean, the bulls are like kept in bad. And it's just like a thing of going like, okay, yes, it's very traditional and cultural, but it's very much out of time. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, many things were traditional and cultural. We don't do them anymore, thankfully.
Exactly right. So he has sent a letter to to Pope Francis. Now, Morrissey is, I'll read about his Catholicism stance. The letter says, you chose the name of St. Francis, patron saint of animals and the environment, because you wish to make nature protection your legacy, but the torture, torment, and killing of bulls for sport flies in the face of his teachings and yours. Okay, now, Morrissey was raised Catholic. You can never be a protector of animals while bullfighting and Catholicism are bedfellows. Now, I think that's a fair point to make.
It is.
He pointed that Pope Pius V from 1567, he had an edict that prohibited bullfighting under the threat of excommunication.
Oh, so it was
banned
in the past, huh?
It was banned.
Interesting.
Yes, and then they brought it back. He carried on if the church won't condemn this atrocity, it won't only be the bulls hemorrhaging, but also Catholicism's relevance among young people. Now,
That's very specific.
That's very specific. And I think there is a lot of things. I'm Catholic myself.
I mean, there's a lot of things that the Catholic Church has not condemned.
Yes.
There's a list.
Yeah.
There's a book.
Yes. But anyway, listen, you got to start somewhere. Everyone's got their cause.
And there's stuff that they have condemned that they shouldn't have.
Now, I didn't know that Morrissey released a song in 2014 called The Bullfighter Dies.
Me neither, because I have not been following his career.
The lyrics go, we all want the bull to survive. In the song, the bullfighter dies and says about, please show mercy and kindness to these animals and condemn bullfighting. Morrissey, he was raised Catholic, but he's described himself as a seriously lapsed Catholic, even dressing up as a mock priest in a 2004 video. I have forgotten you, Jesus. So, case in point, when the priest gets this letter, he's going to go, who is this Morrissey? And they're going to go, it's this guy. Oh, no. Okay.
He forgot us. We forget him.
Yo, so what a little trip that is for Morrissey.
I don't think it's going to work. Sorry, dude.
I don't know. Yeah, I think so. Firstly, I think the Catholic Church has got a lot. They're very busy. They've got a lot of things to do.
And the whole thing with bullfighting is it's an industry, right? So there's money.
That's
the people who make the money are not going to just let that go.
And I'm sure there are very generous donations to churches. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the way the world works.
Bring on the apocalypse.
Once again, Morrissey, nobody asked you. Nobody asked you. Your only expertise in this area is that you are phenomenal at bullshit.
Well, I mean, you remember his whole thing was Meet His Murder. Remember? Meet His Murder was his big thing when he became like a solo artist.
Okay.
That was like one of his big hits. Now it's like bullfighting is murder.
Okay, he's just going to keep going.
Yeah, he's going to just. I mean, he's got a thing that he wants to fight for. I just don't think he's going to win.
Yeah. Going about it the wrong way, especially, you kind of like...
Go to the guy who you slated before.
I got sent this story a lot. This story. I don't know if it's one of our favorites. I don't think you've even watched it, The Goonies.
We've discussed this. I watched it in the 80s. I don't remember it. I have to rewatch it.
I know. It wasn't one of my favorites. I
don't remember loving it, which is why I've never rewatched it and don't remember it. It wasn't amazing.
I don't know if it wasn't amazing. It just didn't capture. I mean, we had so much to capture our attention.
I think it was more for boys.
I'm a boy.
I know. That's what I'm saying. For me, it just was like meh.
I had Gremlins. Gremlins got me.
Gremlins was amazing.
RoboCop
is amazing.
It's still amazing. Back to the Future. I mean, we're talking movies all kind of by the same people around about the same time-ish. Back to the Future. Oh, you never forget that. We had Never Ending Story. You're not going to forget that. Labyrinth. Who can forget David Bowie? So, Goonies really... Ghostbusters. Forget about it.
Don't forget about it.
No. So Goonies kind of... I know. It's like maybe because it didn't have sequels.
Was that it?
Well, it's getting one now. 40 years later, Sean Astin is getting... Did you know? I got sent this so many times. It's been announced. It's been greenlit. The Goonies sequel is in the works 40 years later.
Is it all the original cast still alive?
So, Sean Astin is reuniting the surviving members of the original cast, which Josh Brolin... Now,
I don't remember that.
Yes, he was in it. He was older then already. Okay. Listen, for me, Josh Brolin's gone and done phenomenal things. Phenomenal actor, amazing.
Hotel. Josh Brolin is Hotel.
Isn't that his father, James Brolin?
James Brolin. Oh my God, you're right.
No. Josh Brolin is.
Oh, he's the kid.
Thrashing. Josh Brolin is thrashing.
Okay, he was also in that Western.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He was Thanos. He was friggin' Thanos.
I don't watch those movies.
He was Thanos.
Okay.
You cannot, Josh Brolin's phenomenal actor. He was the guy from Thrashing. But anyway, he was in Goonies as well. So Sean Astin has got Josh Brolin, Jeff Cohen, Kerry Green, Ki Hai Kwan, and Martha Plimpton, as well as Sea Dog Corey Feldman. Go back.
Sea Dog.
Go back a few weeks to find out why Sea Dog and Corey Feldman are so hilarious. And he is getting them together. Steven Spielberg is involved. I don't know if he's directing.
Steven Spielberg must be old now.
He's drinking that blood. I mean,
He really must be old. I'm looking it up.
he's part of the vampire thing. So if you want to ask cast members who have died, John Matuzak, Anne Ramsey, Mary Ellen Trainor, Keith Walker, and Lupe Ontiveros. None of those.
Quite a few of them.
Quite a few of them. But I mean, do you remember them? Maybe we don't remember because they died.
I remember Anne Ramsey.
Okay.
Well,
yes.
I know who Anne Ramsey was at least.
Know that name as well.
Great actress.
So the sequel is getting a possible release date of 2026 and 2027. We got to cross fingers that Sea Dog makes it to the end.
Is Sea Dog going to play guitar?
I think that'll be his. I says, you know what? I've moved on from movies. I will be in this, but only if you let me score the movie. Mm-hmm. He's not just play guitar.
It's going to happen.
Score it. So the Goonies reboot has been talked about for a long time, but has finally been given the go-ahead. The team is excited about the opportunity to bring the magic of the original film to a new audience. Hashtag cash grab. It's also been said the youth adventure market is on fire. Now, here's where I think Goonies is going to have a bit of a problem. Now, of course, Steven Spielberg didn't direct Goonies. Richard Donner did, and he passed away.
Yes, we spoke about him.
Yes. So the thing about this, right, is you got Steven Spielberg's age. He must be pushing late 80s already.
I'm going to tell you right now.
He must be.
77.
Okay, not bad. Not
too bad.
Okay. You know, actually, because he
looks good.
He got his start quite young, though. So maybe
I think he's one of those people who always looked old.
That's key. Yeah, that's very important. So Goonies inspired a lot. Now, like, listen, it's difficult. We're not a Goonies loving show. Do you remember Goonies chips?
Yes.
Now that we remember.
That we remember. Those were good.
What did they taste like?
I can taste them in my brain.
They were tomatoey. They had tang. They were tangy. And they were a weird shape.
Weren't they rings?
They could have been rings.
Like rings. Kind of like the calamari chips, but tomatoey.
Tomatoey calamari, tomatoey rings, Goonies.
Yeah, because what was it? Creoles were the
fish ones.
The fishy ones.
Yes.
So like the shape of Creoles, but tomato flavored. like if Ghost Pops was a ring.
Or Monster Munch.
Yes, very close to
Monster Munch.
Which you can still get, as we discussed. Yes. Not the same.
The thing about adventure movies is that Goonies set the template, I think, for a new audience. And we've had this conversation about Ghostbusters and all the respawning of Ghostbusters. And you keep getting tricked by that. Now, Steven Spielberg's good. If he's involved, you know it's going to be good. That's cool. You're going to be shit out of luck for a new audience who might be confused, but Stranger Things has just kind of put Goonies. It's like Stranger Things is the spiritual successor of Goonies, isn't it?
I suppose. Hang on, is there any like hot young cast of this remake?
I'm sure
like,
there will be.
You know what I mean? Like there'll be like.
Well, I mean, imagine all of these
to get the young audience in.
I mean, Josh Brolin is. I mean, as jacked as he is, he's a grandfather.
Yeah, no, he's not young.
So he's going to have grandkids in this movie.
Oh, yeah, probably, hey.
Unless it's like a time adventure. So unless they travel back in time to when they were kids, but they can't do that.
No. Okay, this is a good opportunity for me to rewatch the original and then watch the new one. And we will discuss it. When is it coming out?
2027. You got 3 years.
Oh.
Don't rush.
Damn, I'll put it in the calendar.
Because the other thing is that Stranger Things, season 5, that's going to be, by the way, that's going to be a weird thing to look at, right? Because they are not kids anymore. Mm-hmm. There is no way they're going to disguise that they're not kids anymore. The one's married to a friggin' Bon Jovi. I mean, like, they are not children.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do that. Are they going to jump ahead in time? That's the only way they can do it.
Well, I'm still even wondering what's going to happen considering how the last season ended. So, maybe they will have to jump ahead in time.
I mean, maybe people haven't got there yet, but the last season ended. But they have to jump forward. But I've seen like some set photos and it looks like they're trying to still stay in the 80s, which is great. And who are we to say, guys, you got to get out of the 80s?
We would never say such a thing.
But I mean, when you're evidently what if Millie Bobby Brown falls pregnant? right?
Maybe it's in her contract that she's not allowed to until a certain time.
Yeah, no.
She is very young.
She's 21.
She's very young.
But she's married.
Yeah, so?
She's married to a Bon Jovi. I mean, those, the Earl. Should have seen my hand movement when
I don't want to talk about it.
Can you imagine?
Thank goodness this is not a video. Just be grateful, people.
Just always be grateful. Never just understand video podcasts are not always the solution for everything. Okay, so what are we doing? We've got 3 years to watch Goonies. Not going to do it. Don't remake Goonies. Bring back Goonies chips. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
I
agree.
Put the money you're going to spend. They're going to spend Avatar levels of money. Avatar levels of money. Steven Spielberg, this could be his swan song.
That is true.
I mean, because by the time this hits, he's 80, and that could be his, so he'll go huge. Sea Dog, you reanimating him. So anyway, and Cyndi Lauper, will she contribute to the soundtrack again?
She could.
She did Goonies good enough. Goonies good enough too. They're going to get her back. She's a loud singer. I think she sold her music to Bjorn from ABBA.
Oh.
He owns all her music now. ABBA owns Cyndi Lauper's music, and she's not allowed singing as part of it. I don't know.
What did she do at Glastonbury then?
Oh, she mimed.
Okay.
Mimed. No, she sold her back catalogue. So, of course, she can make new music.
Yeah.
She sold her back catalogue. Cashed in, Don't let the family fight over it. It gets so unseemly. You're going to have one sister's going to spend all the money. It's going to be ridiculous.
Just give it to a Swede.
Give it to a Swede. When have they ever let us down?
Hashtag give it to a Swede.
Literally, when has a Swede ever let you down? I think in history, notoriously, do not let you down. Hashtag give it to a Swede. That's what Morrissey should have put on his letter to the Pope. Give it to a Swede. Give this letter to a Swede, he'll sort it out. Anyway, that's good. So on that 80s show, we like to go back to the 80s and recommend things. I'm going to pull yours, but of a podcast.
Oh, cool.
Not now.
Oh.
There is a podcast about the story of New Order and Joy Division.
Oh.
So I thought it's going to be one episode. It's 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
I mean, what are we talking?
How long is each episode?
So they're like 30 minutes each.
Okay.
But
average.
Still,
yeah, that's a lot.
That is, I was like, wow, what don't I know? So I want to get into that.
Oh, you're going to actually get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I'll never
come with all the factoids.
Listen, I've got so many movies to recommend. I mean, I never have to. I don't have to. But I'm looking forward to listening to the New Order Joy Division podcast. So we go back to the 80s and look for inspiration of movies, TV shows, podcasts, and recommend them, remind each other of them, less recommendations, more a journey. You know what I mean? So as usual, every week, Dori starts.
So I have a horrible feeling I've spoken about this before, but wasn't on our list, which we know is incomplete.
Listen, Dori, over 202 episodes and counting. We
going to be incomplete.
Yeah, it's going to be incomplete.
This was a movie I rewatched recently. It is not from the 80s nor set in the 80s, but it has lots of 80s-ness in it.
I'm never a fan of these, but anyway, continue.
I think you're a fan of this movie. I imagine you're a fan of this movie. I'm a huge fan of this movie. It was the 3rd time watching it.
Oh, boy.
Love it. I'm just going to go straight into it. Actually, no, I'm not going to go straight into it. I'm going to give you a hint.
All right.
One of the 80s things in this movie is, and this was something that all my friends had when I was at school, those who had gardens. I grew up in a flat. I never had a garden.
Right.
I would go to my friends who lived in houses, and if they didn't have a pool, which was exciting on its own, they always had a swing ball.
Oh, my word. There's nothing ever quite... I mean, you still buy swing balls today.
Yeah. But it's very 80s.
I bought a very fancy swing ball. You don't have to peg it into the ground. It's got like a water weight thing.
Okay.
Nice. 80s swing ball. There was something so violent about the rackets. There
was something about it hitting you in the face.
Constantly. Like, to this day, can I ask you, what's the rules of swing ball?
Nobody knows.
Is it like you got to hit the ball so that it wraps around? Are you anti-wrap? Are you keeping score? Are you hitting? Like, what is the actual rule of swing ball? If anyone knows,
Tell us. Let us know.
Invariably what had happened, no, I'm winning. No, I'm winning. This is the rules. I got 1 point. Yellow racket in the head. No dinner.
So we call it swing ball, but I think Americans call it tetherball.
Okay. And they also do it with a bigger ball, like a volleyball-sized ball.
Yes.
Not always with a racket.
Yes. That's my movie.
Okay, Dori. That is very good. I am a fan of this movie. You've not done it before.
Have I not?
Maybe
I thought I had.
It's got a very 80s
vibe.
It does have an 80s vibe.
It has a 70s vibe and an 80s vibe, but it's not set in the 80s.
Exactly, because you think it's set in the 80s.
And then all of a sudden there's like a cell phone.
And Jamiroquai.
Exactly. Jamiroquai is a big part.
Yeah.
So of course we're talking about Napoleon Dynamite.
Vote for Pedro.
Vote for Pedro. Okay. Love tater tots. I'm going to read you some stuff from the Wikipedia page, which acknowledges that I am not being too obscure, like I have been accused of in the past. So it actually says the film is set during the 2004 to 2005 school year, as is shown on Napoleon's student ID card in the title sequence.
Okay.
So it tells you straight away you're in the early 2000s.
So much for paying attention.
Yeah. So I did notice that on this third rewatch of it. But I was like, The film contains several culturally retroactive elements harkening back between the 1970s to 1990s. For example, Deb wears a side ponytail.
Yeah.
I mean, I wore a side ponytail in the 80s.
When we rewatched it with my daughter, my wife had to stop every time Deb pops up with a side pony. And she goes, that was me. Always had a side pony.
Me too.
A huge thing in the 80s.
It was a big thing. Not great. Why did we do this to ourselves? Anyway, it's a thing of the past. Napoleon wears moon boots. Yes. Popular fashion trend of the 1980s.
Very much so.
Yep. Not the ones that you have when you break your foot.
No.
Let's be clear.
Kind of like the sneakers that Marty McFly wears in Back to the Future
like
2.
Booty, but
with no technology.
Right, right. One scene, and this I had forgotten this. One scene is set.
They make friendship bracelets. Have I jumped ahead?
You have jumped ahead a bit, but they do make friendship bracelets, which was also a very 80s thing. One scene is set at a school dance that plays only 1980s music, such as Alphaville's Forever Young.
Yes. Yes.
Great scene where they do the slow dance.
Is the prom theme Under the Sea or A Night of the Stars? I feel it's always one of those in American movies.
I feel like it was Night of the Stars.
Under the Sea, I think, was Back to the Future. I think it was Back to the Future.
But yes, there was like that kind of theme with the lighting and all that stuff. And
very
Napoleon's very retro outfit for
tucked in jeans with pleats.
It was very retro.
Tucked in jeans with
pleats.
Pleats.
A lot of it's retro. That guy who lives in the caravan.
His uncle.
It's his uncle, right? Looks like he stepped out of a 1970s porno.
He probably did. They never showed us what happened in that van.
Napoleon uses a top-loader VCR and Walkman cassette player.
I think that's just because he's poor.
Maybe, but I mean, very, very 80s. And yeah, it's just, I mean, so the only thing, if I could remake it, I would make him dance to an 80s song at the end. I mean, Jamiroquai's cool, but it would have been better with an 80s song.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I really love Jamiroquai.
Yeah.
The other day, I mean, yes, it was the 30-year anniversary of Virtual Insanity.
Oh, wow.
Just think about that. The 30-year anniversary of Virtual Insanity, am I right?
Possibly.
I'm sure I saw JK promote that.
JK made the funniest video during lockdown.
Now, listen.
I still love that video so much.
If you're wondering who is JK, don't talk to us. Because, like, as much as Jamiroquai is JK and JK is not... No, it can't have been, because that was released in 1996. It could have been the release of the album. Maybe. I don't know. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Still, 1996.
Yeah.
I mean... That is so long ago. And I was like, but that song just came out. I still remember buying was that album called Canned Heat?
Yes.
No, that was Traveling Without Moving. Canned Heat was the one before.
Which was the one that's white, mostly white? And then it's like a kind of drawing of him, I think. I'll tell you why I'm
anyway,
asking.
we're jumping a few things. So
We are
firstly,
jumping a few things.
JK is the lead singer of Jamiroquai, but they are quite interchangeable. But he's always a constant, but his name is not Jamiroquai. His name is JK.
And people think his name's Jamiroquai.
Yes, and it
And maybe it
me.
is, and maybe JK's the shortening version.
He has said over the years, look, they're quite interchangeable because the band keeps changing, but he stays a constant. So he says he understands it is interchangeable. You were saying, what video did he make during lockdown? Remind me.
Oh my God, it was so funny. I'll have to find it, where he sings a bit of one of his songs, but he changes the lyrics about to how he's going crazy at home. He's going so crazy with the lockdown.
How could he be going crazy? Because
I'm going to find the video. It's so funny.
He loves racing. He loves driving fast cars, and he loves supercars. That he kept getting banned for driving his cars round, where he stays and getting fined and having his license taken away. That he built a racing track on his estate. So how could he be getting bored? I played Gran Turismo the whole of lockdown, racing around virtual English villages. He could do it for reals. I didn't get bored. How's he going to get bored?
He just did, and it was very funny.
Okay.
This is the album I'm thinking of, Emergency on Planet Earth.
Yeah, so that's the first one, that Return of the Space Cowboys.
This was the first CD I ever bought.
I remember
when I moved from cassette to CD. This was the first one I ever bought.
So I think it went Emergency on Planet Earth. And then I think after that came out Traveling Without Moving. And then there was Canned Heat afterwards. Anyway, there was Canned Heat. I bought a special edition. The CD was in the can. It was like a coffee can shape. It just blew my mind. There was a bean in it. There was a whole bunch of stuff. I cannot understand how much I love Jamiroquai.
This is something I've never known about you.
Really?
I'm learning this for the first time today.
Love Jamiroquai.
Okay, we need to get back to the 80s.
Okay. But you see, so this is the thing, because we were talking about Napoleon Dynamite. You go, how does he make it?
Which song should he rather have danced to?
I see, I love the song. I think
works.
It's perfect.
It's fantastic.
It's so perfect.
But
okay, for the exercise. Okay,
let's just do it.
For the exercise.
I feel like it needs to be something so cheesy, actually. Jamiroquai's too cool. It's too cool.
It is. Jamiroquai is really cool.
Because the whole movie is so cheesy.
Could we do Lionel Richie All Night Long?
Too slow, I think.
Too slow. So you need that kind of
I think
beat.
we need something a little bit more...
Something about Bros.
No, God, no. What's wrong with you?
Never Gonna Give You Up?
I was just about to say, could be Rick Astley.
We both thinking Never Gonna Give You Up.
Could do Rick Astley. Could even do Kylie.
I was about to say Kylie.
We could do Kylie. Could even do Irene Cara, but it's been done.
It's quite obvious.
It is too obvious, maybe.
I mean, Maniac. I mean, it's also very obvious, but
it would have been funny.
Listen, I don't know how you improve
in my life
a
remake of that end scene of the movie. And if you have not seen the movie, what the hell's wrong with you?
So the story goes...
It's just too good.
I was kind of going to say to you, well, just remind us of the story, but there is no real story. Napoleon Dynamite is this weird little kid at school.
Not little. This weird, tall kid.
But what I love about him is he's so confident.
He's confident in his weirdness.
He's the most odd, but he's an odd person in an odd town. Like everybody's odd.
Very odd town.
Everyone in the school's
Idaho.
weird.
I think it's Idaho.
Yes.
And he asks out one of the really popular pretty girls to prom. And you're sitting there thinking, there's no way she's going with him.
Is it Hilary Duff? I think she's...
Don't know.
I think it could be Hilary Duff. It's definitely one of the Disney princesses of the time.
Oh, God. Okay, let me look it up.
He draws is it her that she draws a picture of? He draws a picture of one girl.
Because he reckons he's a brilliant artist. Of course he's not. But he just thinks he's brilliant at
He's got
everything.
So many skills, nunchuck skills.
And everyone else is
drawing
an idiot,
skills.
basically.
But that's what I love about him. And
I know,
kind of
it's so great.
Own
it's
your
so great.
absolute weirdness. And then he meets a kindred spirit in Pedro. Which is, I think he's Mexican. And he is equally as weird. Pedro shaves his head because he's getting so hot. Oh, what a great movie. Great shout, Dori. Great call.
I think so. I'm going to just look up who the star is.
It's not
who
a
the
star,
girl
but
is.
the
Tina Majorino. That's Deb.
The blonde girl.
Haley Duff.
Haley Duff, okay.
Haley Duff is the...
Okay, Cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a pre-nose job type
so
of thing.
that's what I'm saying. Is that like in real life, the pretty popular girl's no way going to go with this weirdo to the prom. Her mother says you've got to go with him, and she goes. But then she kind of ditches him there.
You know what? You don't need to go hang out with the cool friends.
Yeah.
But you know the trope is that more people are Napoleon Dynamite in high school than...
Oh, for sure. I was Napoleon Dynamite.
We're all in Napoleon Dynamite because we're all just weird and we're just trying to get through it. And the only way to get through it is just 1,000% lean into how weird you are.
Totally. I have a friend who I'm still friends with today. She leaned into her weirdness so hard that when we had Civies Day, she would always dress up like a Halloween costume for Civies Day. She once went to school as a witch.
That's it.
She was just like, this is me.
That's it.
She's still that weird.
That's it. Own your weirdness. Be Napoleon Dynamite. I'd vote for Pedro t-shirt.
I would have voted for Pedro. I'm just going to say.
I definitely. He didn't win though. Spoiler alert. Yeah, he got dropped. I love when Pedro shows up with his bike and they start doing sick jumps. And his like little stunt jump is so pathetic. Great movie. It's just like so quotable. Probably one of the most quotable movies.
Very quotable.
One of the most quotable movies. You know that the main actor was never even an actor. Wasn't it Josh Heder?
Jared Hess.
Jared Hess. Okay, something like that. And he was just like a checkout boy in a supermarket. And the casting director was like watching this kid and he goes, listen, you're perfect. And that's how he got discovered.
And I noticed when I was looking up stuff about this movie, they made a series, but I think it must have been a complete bomb because
I think
I've
it was
never
animated.
seen it. I think so because it says voices of. So, but yeah, I don't think it.
I remember watching it was animated.
I don't mess with it.
I think Napoleon Dynamite. If you actually now want to like look into it further, right? This was round about the time of American Pies and that kind of genre of movies when it came out. So everybody was like good looking and just wanted to have sex in high school and were partying where Napoleon Dynamite was totally the opposite of that. It so worked for that time. It probably worked for now as well because it's just about inclusion and just everyone's just themselves. So I do remember it being quite refreshing at the time because all the other movies were just...
I know. And also one of the big storylines in the movie is that, is it his brother who's trying to build a time machine?
Yeah.
And then he also has this online girlfriend. And you're thinking, oh, there's no ways. And then she turns out to be real and hot and awesome. And it's like there's just constant surprises throughout this movie. It just constantly surprises you. It's so great.
He fights with the llama. It's just such a bonkers movie. Yeah, I think that weird character is his brother. Fantastic movie. No plot line.
No, not really.
It's just like a rambling sequence of things. It's awkward comedy. Camera stays on people for way too long. Weird, like locations. Like he just stays. Seems like he stays in the middle of nowhere, but he rides his bike everywhere.
But then there's one scene where he has to run. Do you remember?
His dead arms.
Because whoever was there with the car leaves with the car, like leaves him stranded, and he has to run very, very far to get to prom, to get to pick up the girl for prom or something like that. And then, he gets picked up by those like Hispanic gang guys.
Yes, the guys in the... Oh, yes.
Man.
Love Napoleon Dynamite. Great call.
It is. It's like one of the great movies of the underdog being cool. I mean, and that ending is just beautiful and perfect, except for the song. But we'll live with it.
Well, there's probably stuff on the internet where people have changed the song.
Yes. True.
Before I jump into my movie, I've got to go back to my movie of last week. So I'm doing a bit of another Danny DeVito movie. Although he wasn't the main star of my movie that I'm talking about this week. Last week I recommended or spoke about the movie Wise Guys.
Yes.
And we're like, how come I never heard about it? We didn't find an article this week of Brian De Palma saying it's the one movie he regrets making.
Oh, wow.
Now, the movie got great reviews from Siskel and Ebert, just generally, just really good reviews. Didn't really make any money, though. It was a really good movie. Just I'm not saying it's a life-changing movie, but really funny, good moments, well-directed, great story, comedy done well. Brian De Palma regrets making it because he says the studio just went into it. He said they signed the movie off and then they were kind of like, just make it and go away. So he said never promoted it, never publicized it. never distributed it, evidently.
I don't think it ever even came out here.
So that's probably why they just went, just make this movie go away. We just
makes me kind of want to watch it more. You said I can, hey? It's on.
It is on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm going to actually do that.
It is on YouTube. So I'm back in Danny DeVito land, but he's not the main character in this movie. Lots of different characters in this movie. It's a movie from 1985 called Head Office, right?
It sounds familiar. I think I saw it.
The main actor is Judge Reinhold. Judge Reinhold he was in a lot of 80s movies. Name 2.
In the 80s?
Name 2.
Okay, hold on. He was in Ruthless People, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay. And he was in... Hold on.
You see what I'm saying here?
Yes.
You know,
I see what you're
know
saying.
movies well. If I have to say to pretty much most other big actors in the 80s, you're going to name their movies pretty quickly.
There is one with like a weird supernatural thing. I can't think.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He was in so many movies, but he's so forgettable. Like, you didn't even say Beverly Hills Cop. You see what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Totally.
He was in so many movies, but anyway, he's in this movie, Head Office. Along with it is Rick Moranis, Jane Seymour, and Danny DeVito.
I'm pretty sure I saw it. Tell me the plot.
The rest of the names you want. So, Judge Reinhold plays the son of a senator who is just a total Nepo baby, totally privileged, and he just keeps failing upwards. So he kind of gets through college. He gets hired by this massive company called Inc. Incorporated. Okay? Just a generic multinational that seems through the course of this movie to do everything. They're just an evil multinational. Mm-hmm. So he now starts working for them. His dad's a senator, and he only gets hired because they're like, well, we're doing nefarious things in fictional South American countries, and your dad is somehow going to facilitate that with his policy, so we're going to hire you.
Such complicated plot lines.
It's really complicated.
What's going on? Yeah.
So it's just the series of Judge Reinhold being terrible at his job, totally dismissive. He's only there to try bonk Jane Seymour, set 2. And he just keeps failing upwards because either people are dying or jumping off buildings or things like that. And he just keeps failing upwards and upwards and upwards. Towards the end, there is kind of a bit of a heroic arc when he does end up in the South American country and he does something to a dictator. It's kind of irrelevant. The plot of this movie is irrelevant. Okay?
Okay.
What I've discovered over the years about these sorts of movies, these comedy type movies, I'm not talking the big ones, is that by and large, they were made up of a lot of set pieces that were just designed to show off these really funny improv actors of the time. So in this case, you got Rick Moranis, you got Danny DeVito, and a few others kind of like in pieces that you kind of with a more cynical eye now, you're going, that's not scripted. You're kind of like just told to go.
Yeah.
And really just full airtime to meet the 90-minute runtime because they were shooting on film. And film lasted a certain amount of time. Fill the film. So things weren't cut out, and it was just set piece after set piece after set piece with a vague sort of plot in the middle, and just get into cinema, get onto home DVD, home VHS, right? So that's what it is. Danny DeVito comes in and out of it. I won't say how he meets his end, but he, for the second week I'm going to reference in a row, Sunny in Philadelphia. Now, we know his character in Sunny in Philadelphia, Frank.
Yes.
We know he was a high-powered executive at one stage, and he's got all this money, and at one point he goes back to his old company. What do they call him? The Warthog. His character in this is the Warthog. But it's like this really terrible executive. Rick Moranis. This is one of the scenes I'm going to post up. You know, Rick Moranis has retired from public life. His wife passed away. He's looking after his kids. Even with the remakes of the Ghostbusters, he's not coming back. What a funny guy Rick Moranis actually was. I watched Spaceballs again the other day.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
I'm going to say something to you. I'm not the only one. I like Spaceballs more than I like Star Wars.
I don't like Star Wars at all, okay. And I love Spaceballs.
I like both, but Spaceballs is, and Rick Moranis is just Dark Helmet. I mean, he's just He is.
Speaking of which, R.I.P. James Earl Jones.
Yes, I mean, Darth Vader, for those of us in the 80s, he's done so many other things.
Let's just give it a mention.
It's so funny with James Earl Jones because he wasn't even in the Darth Vader suit.
No, I know.
He was just, and he was put in later because they're like, no, the guy doesn't sound like Darth Vader. That's unreal. So, yeah, but James Earl Jones, good run, 96, I think.
90-something.
90-something,
Yeah.
good run. Voice of many things, Mufasa. Fantastic actor. So Rick Moranis, so good in Ghostbusters. There is a scene in this that's just created. The only reason they put not scripted, he is so manic. He's this executive. I got 35 people on hold. I got 35 people who report to me. And he's now phoning different people to now put out all these different crises in his company. And it's a 5-minute absolute tour de force of what Rick Moranis is. If you want to go, what was Rick Moranis as an actor?
Yeah.
You play this 5 minutes. He is so funny while his secretary's saying, on line 1 you got this, on line 2 you got this, on line 3 you got this. Eventually he just goes through all of them. It's not my fault, it's not my fault, it's not my fault, it's not my fault, it's not my fault. He ends up with a blood pressure monitor and he's pumping his heart and he's like stressing out, he's fighting, screaming, he goes, oh God, I love this business. I cannot describe how funny he is.
So is it a good movie?
There's a lot of good scenes. There's one scene that has really not aged well, but it's super funny. So one of the businesses that Inc. Incorporated is involved in is they sell weapons to fictional African countries, right?
Oh, God. Okay.
So they're now busy briefing the CEO of the weapons that they've sold into this African country. And they talk about, and listen, the names of the countries and the different tribes and everything. It's quite funny. I think it's still funny, but everything's fictional. But anyway, I think it's still funny. And they talk about how they say, so he says, but you've now sold the weapons to them. Don't they need more missiles? He goes, no. Well, we sold them the fighter jets, but they kind of just roll them down the hill at each other. See, like they never fire anything. It's very funny. It's of the time. It is very funny. There are funny scenes in this movie, so I wouldn't say watch the movie. I would say watch the scenes, especially if you're going to stop on one. Watch Rick Moranis. So that is the movie.
I will do.
Called Head Office. And in a perfect circle, cameo by Lou Ferrigno.
Oh.
They do a casting call for models, and he's one of the models.
Cool.
So there is that. Just want to finish off that 80s show on 2 stories you may have missed from the 80s this week. Last week we spoke about Sting and the Police. Guess who's doing a collaboration with Sting? I'll give you 3 guesses.
Breakout Events.
Oh, so Sting is coming here?
Yes.
Again? Like I feel he's here a lot.
I know. I saw a lot of him when he was here. They were great, but yes.
You're never... Okay.
I don't think it's Breakout Events, actually.
No, it's not.
Let's give them the credit.
Who knows? Could be.
They do great shows.
Sting is doing... I'll just tell you, is doing a collaboration with Snoop Dogg.
What?
Sting is doing a collab.
I would never have put those two together.
Guess which Sting song they're redoing? Not redoing, but they say it's a reinterpretation of the song. I'll give
Sting or Police?
A Police song. So
Roxanne?
100%. You got it.
What else would it be?
Snoop Dogg and Sting are going to be redoing Roxanne. Snoop Dogg is just at the point in his life where he just does whatever he wants. You see him
at the Olympics.
You know, I've paid a fortune for that, but he just had the time of his life. You see when he went to dressage? And he was wearing the full riding kit to commentate on dressage. He's hung out with Martha Stewart.
I'd love to meet him. I think he would be awesome.
Yeah, I think he'd be the best person to meet. And in another story of 80s people turning down money. So you've heard of GTA, the game, Grand Theft Auto.
Yes.
Young Ryan would have been very excited about it. It's a game that they launched, they were like teased for 2 years, okay? But GTA 6 coming out in 2 years' time, people are very excited about in the video game world. So what they have in GTA, which I quite like, is they have these fictional radio stations.
Yeah, we've discussed them before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kenny Loggins.
Yes.
In one of the GTA, I think at Vice City, he hosted a lot of them. They're very funny. They're fantastic. You can go on YouTube and just look for GTA stations. They're great compilations of just all these different stations you scroll through. So, of course, now they're busy putting it together. And they approached Heaven 17 to use their song Temptation in one of these stations.
One Hit Wonder.
Okay. Still, though,
Yes.
so Marty.
It's not an insult. We
No,
love
great
one-hit
song.
wonders.
Love it. Love that song as
Yeah.
well. Martin Ware says, okay, we were approached to license or let them use the song. He says, here's the problem, though. He says, because it effectively is a compilation, right?
Yeah.
And he says the way the deals are structured for compilations, you get paid a once-off to use that song. And then for every X amount of units sold, you then get it. But he says it's really not worth your while being on these compilation tracks. If effectively this is what it's worth. He posts on social media that Rockstar Games, which is not like a very significant company, have approached them, offered them only $7,500 for an outright buy to use Temptation. And I assume saying you cannot then license it to any other video game. Only ever we can use it.
That's ridiculous.
So he says, to put into context, Grand Theft Auto grossed $6 billion, $8.6 billion. So thank you for the offer of exposure, but you can go fuck yourself. That's his tweet.
Well done. I agree. That's terrible.
Youngsters on social media go, oh, do you know what audience you open this up to? What? It's like,
No.
I don't need fucking video game exposure.
No.
You know, we're quite fine. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And especially, listen, I think when you're being offered $7,500 for a video game, I mean, and that was Grand Theft Auto 6. You know, I think this is the new one. Or this is, anyway, whatever. 8.6 billion versus 7,500. That's
Very bad maths.
basically he wasn't tempted.
Yeah.
If that's
He did not give in to the temptation.
good stuff. Well done to Heaven 17. This has been that 80s show. We hope that you've enjoyed it. I always think, is it the show? Are we going to meet an hour today? Are we going to get to an hour with all our 80s chatter?
And then we always go
do.
over.
We always do. Really love talking about Jamiroquai.
Yes.
Loved the legal proceedings of the Ferrigno family.
That was a lot.
You would. I didn't expect that.
I didn't see it.
Because he's always pretty quiet. He's just happy to be the Hulk, do some appearances, but cochlear implants, divorces, being locked out of his Facebook account. Just typical stuff of a man in his 70s, I think. Except he's jacked. Your favorite part of the show, Dori?
My favorite part of the show was seeing the joy on your face when you speak about Jamiroquai. I never knew this about you.
I was even tempted to go to Jamiroquai concert by myself a couple of years ago because I couldn't find anyone to go with me.
Did you not go?
I didn't. I've been to see Jamiroquai.
Okay.
But the second time I didn't go.
Okay.
I love Jamiroquai.
I'm going to find that funny video from lockdown. We'll put it on our Facebook page.
Everything you heard on the show can be found on that 80 Show SA Facebook page. Dori, thanks for joining me. Goodbye.
Bye.